Earlier this summer, Governor Fallin signed two landmark pieces of transportation legislation into law: House Bill 2248 and House Bill 2249, authored by State Representative T.W. Shannon and Senator Bryce Marlette, increases funding for state and county bridge projects, and implements the governor's plan to repair or replace the state's remaining structurally deficient bridges. This reverses a decades-long dangerous trend that plagued Oklahoma with an unmanageable bridge problem, with more than 1,200 structurally deficient bridges on the state highway system in the early 2000s. Finally addressing these bridges with annual incremental funding increases to the Rebuilding Oklahoma Access and Driver Safety Program will greatly improve Oklahoma's national bridge rating and will bring the state from being one of the worst states in the nation for structurally deficient bridges to having some of the best and safest bridges in the United States. The bill provides nearly $480 million over an 8-year period to address the state's remaining 167 structurally deficient bridges that are currently unfunded. Along with new transportation legislation, the state legislature restored the statutory allocation of fuel taxes to ODOT for fiscal year 2013. This $206.4 million will return ODOT to 2009 funding levels and ensure that the 8-year construction work plan remains intact and the governor's bridge plan continues on schedule.
For too long, Oklahoma has been listed as one of the worst states in the nation in having structurally deficient bridges. And it's a funding issue for our state, but our legislature has worked along with Gary Ridley and our office to make a substantial commitment, beginning today with the signing of these bills, to transform Oklahoma from having some of the worst bridges in our nation to having getting rid of those 706 structurally deficient bridges and having some of the best bridges in the United States, something that we can all be very proud of.
County bridge projects will also get a boost. The legislation includes funds that will allow counties to reuse between 1,500 and 1,800 bridge beams from the old I-40 crosstown on hundreds of county bridge replacement projects.
The nation's most innovative ways to be able to provide structural beams for our county roads, and that is by recycling the beams on the I-40 crosstown, which you've seen that they've been taken down as the old I-40 comes down and becomes the boulevard. We're recycling those beams and we're going to use them out in the county and the rural areas. And we'll be able to salvage over 1,800 steel beams to be reused.
ODOT has done much in recent years to improve the state's transportation system, but needs to close this chapter on bad bridges. The passage of these pieces of legislation marks an historic turning point for transportation in Oklahoma.
Well, this is a big day in transportation in Oklahoma, maybe the biggest day. Thank you.
With this year's commitment from the legislature and governor, ODOT will soon be able to close this chapter of the state's transportation history and begin making new infrastructure improvements to meet the needs of a growing and progressing Oklahoma.